Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here. Shall we begin? Bonjour, baby.
Hey, baby.
What's happening?
Having a great day so far. Thank you. How are you?
Doing well. I appreciate us doing that chakra meditation before we start digging in here on the podcast. That was beautiful, all around the third eye. And what's that color?
Indigo.
Yes, indigo. I did see shades of indigo in our meditation, so that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So all that is amazing, and I just want to say hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for being here, everyone. We are your co-hosts. I am Nancy Jameson.
And I am Bill Jameson.
Yes. And so this is Sex, Money, and Real Estate, and we share with you the methods, the tools, resources, and all of those things in turning your breakdowns into breakthroughs in order to have those extraordinary relationships. So it's the relationship to sex, it's the relationship to money, it's the relationship to yourself, it's the relationship to others. And oh, by the way, we sell real estate. So it's the relationship to real estate and clients and closings and all of those things.
And if you're not in real estate, it's just that relationship to life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those circumstances that happen outside of you and how you relate to it. So in our case, in this case, it is real estate. But it could be any industry or any job or any kid or infant or
any business. Yep, absolutely.
Car cutting you off or any of it. So cool. So I see here, Nancy, you have a note around B2B stories.
Yes. So a couple episodes ago, we announced where we're having B2B episodes with what are B2B episodes? They are breakdown to breakthrough episodes. So that means we're putting out casting calls to you. So if you have had any type of relationship breakdown, a breakthrough story, we want to hear from you. So it's an interview opportunity. It's a guest opportunity to be on the show because we want to hear about best practices that you utilized, tools, resources, methods, all of those things to break down. Well, to move from the breakdown into the breakthrough. So in order to do that, go to our website, sexmoneyrealestate.com, and then you'll see an opportunity for you to click in and fill out this little form and get on the show. And it's going to be really great. We're super excited. And part of this is our intention to create a community of like-minded people and expand that community and grow it and just really be that resource, be that place, be that vibe, be that space for camaraderie and fellowship, and allow you and everybody and us all to really learn from each other and again, to have those extraordinary relationships. So we call them B2B stories. Mm-hmm. Could be bed and breakfast, could be business to business, but we like breakdown to breakthrough, and it just puts a whole new context into B2B, honestly.
Nice.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. I appreciate that. What magic, how, Nancy, have you influenced yourself, others, or life in an empowering way in the last week?
So, as you know, we do an orgasmic meditation practice on Mondays before our business meeting, and we set forth for the week and obviously coaching clients and client meetings and all of those things. So that's how we like to set up the week. And out of those intentions, the last 3 weeks, it's amazing. And I don't know why I'm surprised by it, and yet I'm still surprised by it. And I'm just so humble to it. The amount of referrals that we generate as a result of creating intentions around new clients, being in service to others, new coaching clients. And so, last week alone, we generated 3 listing referrals and 5 buyer referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And, we're on a roll this week too, and then the week before that. It's the same thing. So it's really amazing and really powerful. It's a powerful practice. I appreciate our consistency in the practice, and I really appreciate being the conduit for that transaction, that relationship, and the trust that our clients have in us to keep referring us business.
Mm-hmm.
It's really beautiful.
Totally.
Coaching clients and real estate clients.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
That's my magic today.
Awesome. I love that. Magic for me, thank you for asking,
You picked it up telepathically.
Is that what it was? Okay, cool. The kids are home this week.
Mm-hmm.
They're virtual.
Thank you, COVID.
Right. So as somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, there was a reported case of COVID, not directly at the school, but again, it's 2 or 3 times removed, but yet all the precautions were taken, and the boys are virtual this week. And I appreciate my capacity and your capacity for, to keep things rolling, even though they're home here doing their thing from the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty amazing. I think it's a testament to our schedule and our rhythm, and just our commitment to keep things moving forward despite the circumstances, as you were talking about in the beginning. So
yeah, for sure.
So that wasn't actually my original magic. It's been a lot of magic this week because I've really focused on it a lot more this week. So I've seen magic all over the place, but yet we got on the mic, and that's the one that actually came to mind as I can hear a little bit of Rex in the background talking. So, and hopefully you can't out there, you people. So anyway, that's my magic. I'm complete.
Well, maybe our amazing editor will be able to assist in removing some of that sound.
Possible.
Who knows?
Right.
But anywho, yeah, and I think it speaks volumes to their flow too. Their ability to go in and out of the virtual environment because they're in school, and then to be virtual, completely removed from friends and the school environment, and be in their environment, and then flow with us too.
Right.
I think it's amazing.
Nice.
So I appreciate that proud mama and papa moment for being able to raise kids that are able to flow in any environment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I want to apologize to all those out there. We didn't get a fresh episode out last week. I love the episode that went out around our book list and the ones that have really influenced us and continue to influence us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I appreciate all that. And it was a part of our flow is not recording when we need to take a break or need to focus on something else, and that we have enough recordings that we can recycle every once in a while and be okay with it. So that was cool. And part of that was you're talking about the B2B was that you and I are in and continue to be in a bit of a breakdown, and it's all around a lot of it's around the title of this episode, around codependency. And so we wanted to share with you guys what codependency is and what we're experiencing with it. Obviously we always look forward to your feedback if you've ever thought about it or gone through it, or maybe have just an inkling that there is some codependency in your life and want to have a conversation around it. But it's one of the reasons why actually Nancy and I are in therapy, so that we can learn to continue to evolve our relationship with ourselves and each other, to synergize and create that interdependence that starts to eliminate that dependence. So yeah,
and I think that it's so easy to say bye. Like I think we're taught that it's okay to just
Peace out.
Peace out. Right. Deuces.
As far as what? What do you mean by that?
In terms of like ending the relationship.
Okay.
And so, what we're doing, what we have chosen to do is to boldly, audaciously acknowledge the dependence on each other and re-script it to a more powerful context, re-script that paradigm, acknowledge the paradigm, eliminate the paradigm, and then re-script the paradigm and move into a more powerful paradigm, and that being interdependence. Mm-hmm. And so we're doing that within the context of marriage and being married and redefining what it means to be married and what's important to you and what's important to me and what's important to us. And so I don't necessarily have a role model that has done that before. So that's going to be, that's interesting. Like we are the model, mm-hmm. essentially.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that we kind of added on to our process is that we've taken responsibility to do the work and be the role model simultaneously. Mm. And so this is us sharing what it looks like to model going through a breakdown. And even though, so.
And it's not like we're saying that, divorce or separation or those things don't have their place. Of course they have their place.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not everybody's going to be amicable enough to, work things out, or things are just not amicable and they're not going to work out,
mm-hmm.
And obviously they're all choices. Mm-hmm. And yet at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, probably 10 out of 10, wherever you go, you take yourself with you. Right. So, if you're not figuring it out in your current relationship and, you're whatever you're not figuring out now in your current relationship, you will probably not figure out in your next relationship. And if you think that next partner is going to, magically dissolve those issues, or because you're with somebody new that, those issues just kind of go away because they're not reflecting it back to you. Well, you're depending on external forces to,
create an internal change.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Create an internal change.
Yeah, yes. Because it's an inside job, mm-hmm. and we did an episode on that a few weeks ago about how the evolution is an inside job, mm-hmm. and it is an inside job. And so this is a very mature conversation. And so there's levels of maturity. And so if your emotional maturity is, I would say, lower than a 5, then especially around the relationship and a sexual partnership and intimate relationship, then there's some work to do. Mm-hmm. There's some internal work to do to be able to move through these conversations that are very tough, very challenging, have the potential, to just throw the whole thing on its side. And so what we're saying is that again, those concepts have its place, and what Bill and I are playing for is to evolve the emotional maturity and to demonstrate and model what it looks like to remain in a committed relationship while working on a relationship with each other, while working on a relationship with ourselves, such that the outcome, the result, is an extraordinary, amazing, sexy, juicy, synergistic relationship beyond what it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. And those things happen when it's an inside job first. Mm-hmm. For sure. Cool. So codependency, if it's not something you have looked at or thought about, I just went ahead and popped in the Webster's definition is, let's see here, codependency, noun, excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner. Again, that's excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner. So codependency is a behavioral condition in a relationship where one person enables another person's addiction, poor mental health, let's say, immaturity, irresponsibility, is a core characteristic. Characteristic of codependency is an excessive reliance on other people for approval and a sense of identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that definitely resonates with me. An excessive reliance on other people for approval and sense of identity. And so I feel like that's where I became very dependent upon you. And yeah, I mean, like just the validation associated with me, like I don't ever recall really feeling a sense of like, you complete me, classic Jerry Maguire. Like I don't remember feeling that like you complete me. Like it was in there that I always had, and I still do have this awareness that like we're amazing together. Like I call us soulmates, and I feel like we're amazing together. I don't feel like I was, gosh, how can I say this? I don't feel like I was missing something to where we were like, now that we're together, okay, now I'm complete. It was more of like like we're partners, I don't know. Just the sense of validation that I received from you. Like it was important to me that you thought that what I was doing was important, maybe agreement. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like, am I coming in clear?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and so I think that what I'm hearing, and I'll just speak from my viewpoint, was, I have had a lot of reliance on your emotions as far as like, if you're having a great day, then I'm having a great day.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having a shitty day, then I'm having a shitty day. Or just, mood swinging, I've experienced this mood swinging with each other, and, I just now realize that, it's just not healthy. I mean, it's not sustainable. And, again, the reliance, for me to be dependent upon what your mood is, so, really learning that, if you're getting pissed off or mad, that there's no reason for me to be pissed off and mad, or if you're not feeling happy, because it has nothing to do with me. It's all your stuff. And, I appreciate, you being able to model that for me, more so in the last few months. So that's been fantastic.
Cool. It sounded like you kept going. Beautiful. Where do you think that we learn? Well, I'll ask you outright. Do you remember learning like codependent or dependent behavior?
I mean, I do now. I didn't know what it was then, but my mom and my dad were totally like, I'm gonna say, my mom and my dad were very codependent, and my mom was always reflecting, the mood that my father was in, and if my father wasn't in a mood, then she didn't know how to be in a mood, kind of thing, So I remember times where there was some independence where, she would do things for herself that brought her joy, and her art would do that. She would draw or whatever, and sometimes music. I remember her, I remember how happy she would be when she would put on that vinyl album of the Bee Gees and dance around the house.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So, I remember little things here and there, but I also remember, that wherever my father was with his antics were, would really, really have a strong reflection on how my mom was feeling or what she was doing or not doing. And, and she had, my mom has a bevy of other things going on too, but I remember that specifically,
and
I can always remember, he was in the restaurant business, and I can remember that, he would come home from the restaurant, late at night, and how mad he would be when, his dinner was not ready and piping hot to his standard, and just lose his shit over something, and then it brought the whole house down.
Yeah. So, well, that's interesting because that's actually called something. And I didn't know that this word existed until we started doing our work in like really looking at dependency and codependent behaviors. And it's enmeshment. Enmeshment.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a term to describe relationships where there is a lack of boundaries and the emotions of one family member is felt by all family members in repeated cycles. Yeah. So that sounds like your dad in that moment.
Classic.
I mean, I guess it could have been mom too at different moments, because if he's teaching her how to treat him, or, again, I just feel like that could be a pattern that is definitely picked up. So both my parents, for sure, that whole codependent behavior. And, I think it's important to note that I don't feel like relationships start out as codependent. Like, I feel like that there is a sense of independence, at least for us. How about if I just speak for us?
I was going to say, I don't think that's accurate, but for us, yeah, but not for people, not for everybody.
Okay.
I think couples get together for codependent reasons.
Okay. That may be true. I just don't. Can you pause that? So the result of enmeshment is the belief that we're responsible for the emotion of others, which is a biggie. I mean, that's really a biggie. And that there's a lack of authentic self, meaning that, you don't feel that essentially that you exist, or that your responses exist as a result of what the other person is thinking of you, or again, back to that validation piece.
Right.
And then, the other thing about enmeshment that we've learned is that you essentially have a chronic fear of how people respond to you. Like, what are they going to think of me? Am I going to be received? Am I going to be heard? Is this an agreement? Like that kind of conversation. So again, that validation.
Yeah. And it could be people in general, like people at large, or the people could be your significant other. Right?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Cool. And then, so there's that whole, validity thing, that, you validate me and you complete me kind of thing that comes up. So, I think that we had we talked about that a little bit earlier, and, I don't feel like we started off like that, where it just felt like there was the codependence. I think that it was built up over years, and I think it happens probably to a lot of couples that a lot of couples probably get into relationships because of codependence, and yet I still feel like you and I were very independent and interdependent in the beginning of our relationship, and 25 years of teaching each other how to treat each other, so kind of led us up to where we are right now. But, some of the things that came up when we were researching codependency and trying to figure out how to, communicate and treat each other in a new way after all this time, we actually found a short list here where there are signs of codependency. There is the low self-worth or self-image. There's a lot of people pleasing, right? Or the inability to say no. You're like, you yes everything. Lack of boundaries. And if any of these resonate with you, Nance, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going through them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you already had me at low self-image.
Okay, cool.
I mean, my self-image was shot because, like, again, my identity came from you validating me. Like, if I don't know, there was a click over, there was a loss of self after either a long time of being together or, I think that there's a tremendous amount of shame associated with how we're taught in monogamous relationships that it's inappropriate to receive compliments or attraction or conversation from any other man outside of the relationship, and then it's literally like wrong. Like, you don't talk about that. You shut that down. You shut it off, and so all of a sudden, my worth and my identity became completely attached to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you weren't digging on the outfit, or you weren't digging on my hair, or you weren't digging on my nail polish color or lipstick or whatever, then that was it. And so over time, that became how I thought about myself. And unless you thought that it was a great thing, then I didn't think it was a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, low self-image and low self-worth was absolutely, it's number one on this list right here, signs of codependency. And
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely number one for me.
Got it. Cool. People pleasing, inability to say no. I think that one resonates with me a little bit because, I think one of my love languages is, I'm trying to think of the actual wording, but
Being
acts
of service.
acts of service, acts of service. So I think that got confused in my head or in my beingness as saying yes to everything, and so there'll be a loss of self there. So I resonate with that one.
Yeah, and it also creates a sense of chameleon. Like when I'm with this person, I act like this. When I'm with this person, I act like this. When I'm with this person, I act like this. And so, that's just a maladaptive behavior of being a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What else? Childlike fantasies that someone can save or fix you from your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Chronic care taking as distraction.
Chronic caretaking.
Oh, chronic caretaking as a distraction. I see. Emotional addiction, addicted to relationships where there is a roller coaster cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are definitely like an emotional abusive
mm-hmm.
type situation or physical abusive. I mean, that's pretty serious for sure.
Inability to understand or clearly communicate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I think that one resonates for anybody that has, and I'll say for me, for anybody who's had that example their whole lives of what, of that relationships are supposed to be codependent, you can get lost with self. So I get that one. Chronic fear of upsetting someone, the feeling of walking on eggshells around people, high emotional reactivity to life situations, controlling the behavior of others to feel okay, and obsessive thinking about what other people think of you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty great list.
Yeah, it's comprehensive.
Yeah,
definitely. And as we go through this list, like whether you have 1 or 12 out of 12, it's really important to remember that we're identifying and acknowledging the signs here, and that it's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, we're taught a lot of things and shame and guilt and how to control and manipulate those feelings, and that this isn't anything to be ashamed of. That it's literally, these concepts and beliefs were literally like handed to us as kids, whether it's from teachers or church or parents or grandparents or family or other things. And we were raised, a lot of us were raised in homes where family members had these types of toxic behaviors, and it's acknowledging them. It's not coming from a space of condemning them or judging them. So we learned the pattern, in other words,
Mm-hmm.
and then just repeated the pattern because this is what we taught. So that is it. So that being said, there's definite ways to heal the codependency or the dependencies, and if you think about it, it's literally the flip side to the other things. So where you may have loose boundaries, it's setting boundaries for self and for others. Where you may spend all of your time with your loved ones and your significant other, then start spending some time alone and like on your own, whether it's going for a walk or doing some journaling or going for a drive in the car or, like you did a solo vacation a couple of months ago, so it's utilizing those practices, that alone time, that space time. It may be for prayer. It may be for, exercise. But again, it's being in that alone time. And then you can supercharge that activity with doing something that you love to do. So dancing, exploring, going for a hike, creating creating art or creating clothes or creating container gardens. I love to container garden, so it's utilizing that alone time and that space to do something that you love.
Nice. Spend time alone, spend time, and then I guess that could lead to some more inner reflection as well. I mean, it may feel a little weird to spend time alone if that's not what you're used to. Every TV show you watch is with your partner, or you guys only watch movies together. I mean, it could be, anything, any level of it where, it's this co-thinking instead of this independent thinking. And so all I'm really leading up to is sometimes it's just one little habit or one little thing that can create big changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're certainly not suggesting that all of a sudden all the things that you guys do together stop doing. That's not, I think that's taking it to an extreme. And frankly, that's called counterdependence. It's not necessarily being independent. It's just you're doing everything the opposite way that you used to do, just to say that, you're not dependent any longer. So that's not the healthy relationship either. It's what we're saying is to utilize the time and the intention behind the time to cultivate and reconnect your relationship with yourself, because that's the pathway to healing. Relearning yourself, reconnecting yourself, and having an understanding around that you're creating sense of self so that you feel emotionally stable and shored up. And then that translates into moving into healthy, connected, authentic relationships with your others. And then again, it allows you to heal through that codependency and move into the interdependency.
Yeah. So, and that is, the most important relationship that
you have is with yourself. So it's just to keep the focus on that, keep the focus on all of those things. So when you're in an independent relationship, it looks like, again, if we're saying that we're in the independent relationship with your partner, then it looks like a safe, secure environment for two people to be vulnerable. It looks like the ability to freely express and communicate and exist without criticisms and judgment. Again, back to that safe space. It's setting those clear boundaries that you're in agreement with that are flexible. I mean, we say boundaries are standards because it's flexible. Rules are very rigid and strict, because life is organic, life is flexible. And the most flexible element in the system is the controlling element. So just maintaining the flexibility around what those boundaries look like. It may be setting up a win-win agreement. In Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, habit number 4 is think win-win. And it's around setting up win-win agreements. And so obviously you have a win-win agreement with yourself, and we believe in having relationship standards with yourself. And then you build out, you expand your circle of influence, and then you have relationship standards for your intimate relationships, for your clients, for your inner circle, and then your outer circle. And then part of that is creating those win-win agreements with each other. So have those standards in place, and just remember, they're flexible. It's organic. Priorities are going to shift.
Yep. And creating those win-win agreements, whether it's 1 or 2 or 10, or if you go through Covey's book, then it is definitely like a document. Get some help with it. Don't try to. Don't try to do it on your own.
Be your own brain surgeon.
Be your own brain surgeon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the truth. That's one of our coaching practices where we take people through creating win-win agreements with themselves first. And then that allows them to the foundation to create win-win agreements with each other. And of course, we facilitate doing couples win-win agreements because that's what we do.
Yep, exactly. Cool. Anything else that comes up over what interdependent relationships look like?
Yeah, I think this is definitely one near and dear for my heart because this has been one of my requests for a while as we move through this, is the ability to hold space for the other person's emotions while also processing our own emotions. And because it's so important, it's so important to have so I'll just put it on me. So if you're experiencing a breakdown and I'm able to hold the space for you, even though I'm right there with you in the breakdown, yet I'm able to hold the space for you to process your emotions without judgment, with compassion, with love, with, being my authentic self showing up for you, then again, it's like this safe container space that allows you to move through whatever those emotions are.
Mm-hmm.
But if I break down because you're breaking down, then you're never going to be able to process those emotions with me. And frankly, you probably won't trust me to hold the space any longer because you think that I'm up to something. So it's super important to be able to hold the space to allow the other person to process. And then, of course, I'm processing my own emotion as well. So it's a mature practice. It's a very mature practice. And then again, the interdependent relationships, there are alone times as well as for personal interests. And then there's the couple time, there's date nights, there's times that we watch movies together. There's clearly times that we have family together and those things. And all of that is beautiful. So.
Awesome. Cool. I think the last thing is that the relationship provides, the space for evolution,
Mm-hmm.
For everyone, to mature as independents and, space to mature as a couple or as a family or, whatever the situation is,
Mm-hmm.
because, and here's the thing, Nancy and I have both given examples of where, this was a learned behavior from our family. So there's no doubt that there are behaviors that we have transferred to our boys as well,
Mm-hmm.
and have an opportunity to circle back with and have a conversation around and set new examples as well.
Yep.
So cool. Anything else you want to say, babe?
I don't know. I think that's it around that for sure. I mean, it's a lot. So, if there's something in there that you guys have questions about, or if there's, something that you want us to go into further, of course, drop us a note and let us know, and we'll be happy to go into it further, expand on it, share examples or any of those things. And, you may not agree with us. And again, you may have that breakdown to breakthrough story around your relationship that can really assist us too. Like we would love to, we'd love to experience it, those breakdowns, or those breakthroughs quicker than later. So
cool.
I love that.
Yeah. And I would just say that if you're here to the end and listening to the end, then there's probably a piece of this episode or that has resonated at some level. So go take a look at it. Be brave, be courageous, and
be curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and take a look at it. Mm-hmm. So cool. All right. Well, love goes out to all. We look forward to hearing back from you on through email or the Facebook or the Instagram, and Sex Money Real Estate at gmail.com. Sex Money Real Estate Instagram, Sex Money Real Estate Facebook. You can find us or Google our names. So peace, love,
and sexiness.
See y'all next week.
Bye for now.
Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow the show. I'm Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And remember, it's a great life.
Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.